G'day everyone and welcome to The Take. I am your host, Matty G, a brand new show right here on the Old Man Squad Sports Fantasy Network. It is fun, it's exciting. And talking about fun and exciting, if you find your fantasy NBA a little bit stale, this first show is a brand new way to play fantasy basketball. Look, it may not be new to you if you're hearing this, but it's new to most, including a bunch of analysts who were in the room. It was the brainchild of Old Man Squads, one Adam King from the Stuff It podcast. I got to take part in it. It was a heck of a lot of fun. Some insanely good analysts, the Brains Trust, got together, cracked it out. This is a new way to play. Let's bring Kingy in and have some fun. Kingy, the man, the myth, the legend, the Stuff It boy himself. How are you, mate?
Good, mate. A bit sore, purely because I'm old. Nothing,
Yes.
Which on brand here, isn't it? Old Man Squad. I know. I've hurt my back doing something. I don't know.
Waking up? Did you hurt your back waking up? Because I do that sometimes.
Yeah. Look, we went and bought a new bed today, so that may help with the problem.
It probably quite possibly aligns very, very well. Look, it's all about the old man, unless of course you're Noah and you're the young man squad and just likes to be like, wait, you guys have a sore back? What's that like? And we tell him about like the things that were day when we used to, I was there when Pokemon first came out. Kanto reach. He respects it. Hey, look, this was a heck of a lot of fun. Because you were the instigator, you like to rejuvenate things, just like and renovate fantasy basketball quite often. I think this is like you're just so sick of doing and renovating fantasy. That's why your kitchen is getting a makeover this week at home, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I mean, you can see I've got. You can't see the whole room, but I'm in the spare room here where I record, and it's just
an ironing board behind your head. It's fine.
It's just an ironing board. Just an ironing board that you can see. But to my left. Is on the bed and you can't see it, is all my Lego because I had to move it all, otherwise it would get covered in dust. So it's all up here and the kitchen's been gutted. You've got a
Lego? How have we not crossed this path? How have you and I not talked great Lego sets that we own previously? That's a whole nother conversation. We'll bring Miles Turner in for it. So this is great. This was when you had an idea. Mock drafts, they've been a little bit stale. Let's be honest. Like to get people up and down and the rankings so far, mock drafts are kind of just not fun yet. Like we have fun with them, but unless you're doing an auction draft, the rankings are all off. The official ESPN is kind of leaking in now. Yahoo hasn't dropped. Fantrax is still based off ADP. You wanted to find a fun way to play fantasy basketball, and Kingy, I think this is something for a 10-team league that people could adopt. Talk us through this whole draft shenanigan thing that we did, this analyst panel thing.
Look, I never did this with the intention of it becoming a format that people might want to do. But, I mean, look, maybe they will. It was just let's change things up. Let's do add some stipulations to a standard kind of a mock to – just change it up, make it interesting, make people have to think a little bit more or a little bit differently. So, and I mean, I typically do like 2 or 3 of these a year. And look, maybe it turns into something, maybe it doesn't. But I didn't think beyond the draft. I was actually thinking when you said, hey, let's talk about this on a show, I was thinking, well, I wonder what the regular season would look like, because the way that the draft is set up is different. And so would that mean we have to modify the rules during the season, or is once we're drafted, is it just as per normal? Because in this format, there are players in the free agency pool, in the waiver pool, that probably would have been drafted in a regular draft, but in this one they weren't. So the waiver wires are very intriguing. So do we just, if we're just to let teams, once you've drafted, go and drop players and pick up players, it sort of defeats the purpose of the draft. So I didn't think that far ahead.
Well, I think it's more the fact that then that creates the chaos. So it's like your waiver order still comes back to it. So what this is for those listening, it's like, okay, so what is it? It's a 10-team mock draft, or it's a 10-team league. And you can only draft one player per team. So, for example, let's look at the New York Knicks. Karl Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson. They're two guys who would go in very similar ranges. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Jalen Williams, or Chet Holmgren, within 30 picks. You cannot draft a player until one player has been taken from every single NBA team, which means by the time at the end of the third round, and it was also a snake draft, wasn't it, Kingy?
Yeah, so the reason I did a 10-team league, that this was specific, was so that because normally in a regular snake draft, whoever has that pick 10, 11 is sort of picking on the turn. You're disadvantaged, so you might implement third round reversal to help with that. So the
Which
reason
happened in this league. So third round reversal was then again implemented in this league as well.
Yeah. So the reason was that if you have the last pick 10. It means you are then getting the first pick of that second batch of players, I suppose, pick 31, which, as you said, Chet Holmgren, Jalen Williams, who will go inside the top 30, are all available at pick 31. So it sort of means that if you're picking at the end, you then get an advantage in the second round. If we sort of every 30 block of 30 players is a round. And yeah, like I said, if there are going to be players available at the end who you can see sitting there, but you can't take them. And we noticed that the teams that were going at the back end were your Washington and your Portland and those teams.
Utah Jazz,
yeah. So
hello, Lowry Markkanen sitting there around deep in the 80s and 90s, and everyone being like, come on, who are you going to take Lowry? Come on, so surely someone's going to take Lowry.
Yeah, and it just means that you then have to... Well, it looks like a reach because you are...
You're forced. Your hand is forced. Like your hand is forced.
So Denny Avdia, I mean, you'll bring the results up there, but Denny Avdia went at pick
right here.
20. There you go, pick 29. And there's no way he goes at pick 29. But the person that picked that, so that was Evan from Point Made, and Alex Sarr then went with pick 30 to DMAC. He then gets Jalen Williams. Evan from Point Made gets Evan Mobley, and he will go inside the top 30. So there's no way in a real draft that if you're picking at pick 32, you're going to get Evan Mobley. But in this draft, you do.
And this was a lot of fun as well, because technically speaking, the first 12, 13, 14, 15 players, it actually shapes up really well to a point. It actually, for the most part, if you look at it, so I'll go through the results just to start it off with, because this is like a really good example of how the chaos happened. So you can see the 30 teams come off the board. It was Jokic, Shea, Wemby, Luka, AD. Now, so the first couple of people here you start to think of is, like, as you said, Chet and Jalen. They're frozen out of going now inside the top 30.
Yeah.
That means LeBron, he's frozen from outside the top 30. No one else there we're really looking like outside the top 30 for. Anthony Davis, the only one who people could argue could be going inside the top 30 for Dallas, is Cooper Flagg. But you're at a disadvantage. You have to wait for him. Cade, there's no one. Like we said for Karl Anthony Towns, the next pick, 7th to Dan Titus. Jalen Brunson could be in that top 30 range. JB is frozen. Brunson's frozen at this point in time. You cannot touch him until the end of the third round here. Anthony Edwards off the board. Giannis, James Harden, which also then pushes back on guys like, who were flying last year, like Kawhi Leonard, who's already with notice dropping in drafts, but this is where this really starts to take shape. You've got Steph Curry at the turn there, Devin Booker, Don Mitchell, and that's where you said there. Evan Mobley now being taken in the third round with the 15th pick. No one can touch Mobley now until all 30 teams are done.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. And that was my idea here. I just thought it would change things up a little bit. Honestly, I haven't really gone back and had a look at the sort of the builds and the respective teams. Now, I was actually in this draft. Most of my mock drafts I tend to sit out of so that I can analyze it and run it. But this one I actually jumped in. And this was we did this slowly, didn't we? This was a slow draft.
This was a slow-mo. And this is the other way we have to say it. So this is also where this is like, it's a more laborious way for a commissioner. So how do you monitor it? Well, we did 6-hour picks. It could be frozen overnight depending on where you were on the world. But basically you created a Google sheet as the commissioner. And when a pick was made, everyone kind of just had to pause for a hot second. The commissioner obviously gets the notification that a league had been made as the commish, and then you would fill it in, or someone would be like on the block. But it also was great. Hear my voice go up there?
I did.
It was great. Yeah, it was because I was so excited by it. It was great because the chat was like really like awesome. So this is where that spirit of fantasy as well is not just like playing it and it's anonymous and you're in a league. This is a league that I actually almost want to play out this year because it was so much fun. Like you got S-Man Sports there. You got, these guys who are awesome. We've got NBA Fantasy Bar. Well, DMAC, who we do a lot of work with. We've got Adam Stock, who I'm right now in a bidding war. I just threw a whole bunch of cash to piss him off in that auction mock draft. This is a lot of fun, and the chat was having a ball with this as well.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty engaging for a mock. I mean, sometimes those slow mocks are, they tend to chug along because the analysts are all engaged and they want it to be fairly accurate because a lot of us are using this for data. But the engagement, the banter isn't always there, but it was for this one. There were a few picks that I had to undo because someone took a player from a team accidentally, and I went, no, hang on, that team is not back on available.
And everyone in the chat was firing up like, you can't take it.
So that's why we needed that spreadsheet, just simply so you could see, hey, I'm picking at pick 57. What are my 4 teams or 3 teams available? Like I said, it usually, if you look at the back end of every block of 30, we've got Brooklyn, Portland, Washington, and then we've got Brooklyn, Portland, Washington.
So this is the thing. So at the end of picks here, I guess you go in the 3rd round here. We've got oh Jesus, New Orleans. Oh my God, let's just go to the last 5. Be damned with it. Even Gids to you here, like I was like, geez, even though didn't I tell you, have you seen his new photos? I told you, man, he looked like he'd been working out a lot, man. He was like, when I was chatting beside him, man, I'd be like, you've been, he's like, yeah, man, I've been hitting pretty hard. I'm like, yeah, you have. He's looking like a freaking Thomas the Tank Engine. You've got the Finland military service there with Larry Markin, who's looked, I know it's only Euro basketball and warm-ups, but geez, he looks good. Trey Murphy, New Orleans, Brooklyn Nets, Portland Trailblazers, and then Alex Sarr capping it off at the 30th. You go to the next pick, it's Jalen. So then you come back down to you go all the way down here to Murray, you go all the way back to Brandon Miller, and then we come back down to the last 5 again and have a look at the usual suspects. Toronto, Emmanuel Quickly, Sacramento around the place. Vooch, again, Chicago. Oh, CJ McCollum, Washington. Donovan Kling in Portland, and then Cam Thomas for the Brooklyn Nets. Every single time, but they're off the board in the 7th round. This is the only time that you're going to be able to get Chet Holmgren in a 7th round, or guys like Zubac, or I got Desi Bain in the 7th round. I was tossing up between Bain and Dyson Daniels, but Dyson Daniels became the 3rd Atlanta Hawk off the board, which was also kind of surprising in this draft as well, because people have been really high on him, but seeing him, this is almost like you can get him for a fairer price than you could on a real draft day where people might be chasing that magic from last year, Kingy.
Yeah. I mean, I took Jalen Johnson there as the 2nd Atlanta Hawk with my pick, sort of bang in the middle, 4th round, 5th pick, or 6th pick, I think it is 6th pick, which, it meant that Atlanta, you then had to wait. And this range is probably, as you said, it's probably a fairer reflection of where Dyson Daniels should. Well, no, he should probably go high. He should probably go top 50.
He'll probably go top 50.
Top 50 is where he should be going, but he will go top 30 because of the steals and the recency bias and that sort of thing.
The recency bias will be off the. It's always off the charts when guys like this who save your season, guys like him. Zubac, Josh Hart, these kind of guys from last year, even Christian Brown to an extent, the brawn, the razor, as our old mate Joshy Lloyd would say, Bruce Brown's back in town. So how much does he shine like he did last year? Will he still be on your waiver wire come draft day? No, he's going to be taken. And you can see here, he's going here in the 8th round. It's just, it's probably the most comparable you can get to where they're real fantasy value in some ways.
Yeah, for a lot of them. And then you start to get your value. So once you get down into that 4th block of players, as you can see there, we had Darius Garland. Like, I know he's injured, so that sort of plays into that a little bit. But Darius Garland going at pick, whatever that is, 91. Kristaps Porzingis at 92. Fred VanVleet at 94. Josh Hart at 95. Like that is incredible value for those guys. So I think it does balance out in the end. I think you've got to reach and you like Denny Avdia, that sort of thing. But then you come back down later and that same manager gets Kristaps Porzingis there. So I think it balances out. It would be interesting to play this out and see sort of how the squads matched up and whether it was reflective. Does it work or doesn't it work? And maybe we will. I don't know. We can ask everyone, I guess.
I reckon we play it out. Look, and then you see guys get here back to that Denver point. Cam Johnson, who also came in. Well, he's going there in the 10th round with the 10th pick. So there's your 100th pick. It's Cam Johnson, who will be a top 100 player, we would argue, this season if everything goes well. And then I'm left fiddling around looking at I probably need to get some more points on the board here. Or do I not? And this is where it got a little bit fun. You can then flip it because I picked up DeAndre Ayton in the 10th round with the 8th pick, and I'm fine because that means he's the 4th banana. Because it's also, you need to know your bananas is the rule here. Like who's the team's top gun, who's the second in charge, who's the 3rd banana, and who's the 4th fiddle. And if you can get that value out of that, then you start to make those plays. Back into my 3rd round here, picking up Jaylen Brown, I was stuck. I'm like, I need a Boston Celtic. No one wanted to touch anyone in Boston. I thought this was until the end of the 2nd round. No one's like, there is no 1st round player in Boston this year. Even though we've seen Derek White in some mock drafts go really super high. Yeah. No one wanted to touch anyone from the Boston Celtics in the first 2 rounds of this thing. I had to make a call, Jaylen Brown. And then after then, you got guys on the board from Orlando, Chicago, Utah, New Orleans, and then the dregs of the league in Portland and Washington. The next one then, this is where the other value starts to come out. So this is where the 2nd bananas, Jalen Williams, Mobley, Gobert. I don't know why that was a pick for Minnesota, but play on. We've got Amen Thompson. That was a bit of a surprise. Brunson, Johnson, De'Aaron Fox, Derek White, LeBron James, Jamal Murray, Kawhi Leonard, Joel Embiid. And then Cooper Flagg fell to me in the 5th round. This is the kind of fun you can get when you can start getting guys like Cooper Flagg in the 50s. This is fun. In like when you're picking them up in pick like 43, you're a little bit happier.
Yeah, and he's going to be pretty hyped up, and he's going to go too high and probably go in the second / 3rd round.
I reckon he's a 3rd, 4th. Third, 4th is probably where I think he settles. I think people are going to be not. Do you think he just becomes a 3rd round guy? Like we start seeing his ADP fall into 28 to 32.
I think we will. I think that not in every league, but I just think in most leagues there'll be one manager that goes, you know what, I'm happy to reach for Cooper Flagg at pick 26.
I've got him on my draft board right now at 28, only because I believe that's where he's going to go. And if I say that, maybe he should be the 45th, people are like, oh, you were so off him. I'm like, I'm also just not sure about Dallas at the same time. Like if AD goes down, Kyrie's delayed, he's never come back early from an injury. Are they going to kind of just, hey, here's Cooper? Yeah.
I mean, I took Cooper Flagg. So I did a points league mock draft yesterday with the RotoWire guys and some analysts. And it was a points league, so a little bit different. But I took Cooper Flagg at pick 26 in a points league.
Right.
Which is, it's probably a bit of a reach. But as I said, there will be someone in most leagues who goes, you know what, I'm just going to take a flyer here on. Yeah. Second round, maybe not. I think people will just be a little bit cautious, just the risk involved taking him as a second rounder. But I think once we get into that 3rd round, it's sort of no holds barred, and people will just go, you know what, I've drafted Luka and Domantas Sabonis with my first 2 picks. They're solid. I know exactly what they're going to do. I'm going to take a chance on Cooper Flagg in the 3rd.
And you're going to want to be out. You want to be the fantasy manager. This is like, you know what? I drafted Cooper Flagg because if he screams value above that, then you're like, yeah, I got him. Yeah, I got him. But if he doesn't, and if he settles at 5th or 6th round, you're not going to really kill your draft by that pick by that point in time. But this is where it was just a lot of fun to be able to manage. If you can put this together, and if you're in a 10-man team league, if you're in a 10-teamer, this is like awesome because everyone has to think on their feet. You've really got to know your strategy. You've got to hone in on who you want to get. And then as you said, there was I thought we had one more round. So at the very back end here, I was faced with a very tough choice. The last teams, again, off the board, Philadelphia, Utah, Milwaukee, the Pacers, and the Brooklyn Nets, the poor old Brooklyn bloody Nets yet again. I took Kevin Porter here. I actually had another guy who was in my list, but I couldn't. I'm pretty sure you could grab him, but he was grabbed here and I couldn't get him to the next round. And I was pretty bummed because DeJounte Murray didn't go off the board. So here's the best of the rest, as we say. Tatum and Halliburton for obvious reasons. You've got Naz Reid, Lopez, Okongwu. Mikal Bridges was in my queue. Mikal Bridges went undrafted in this league, which is just wild. Lillard for reasons. Westbrook, Andrew Wiggins, undrafted. Malik Monk, Chris Paul, undrafted. This is what you get, and you could have the most active waiver wire in hell. And if you could put some rules in place, if we're making this happen, Kingy, let's just play around a bit for us. What would you think would be the best rules to couple this one here? Like what would be the waiver rules that would apply?
Yeah, I was, as I said, I was sort of thinking about it last night in bed.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Could think of better things in bed, but sure. Well,
not at 11:30 at night.
Oh no, there's a lot more, but go on.
Yeah, I'd had a few bourbons and
all right.
Yeah, so it was anyway. Look, honestly, because as you said, like there's a lot of value there sitting on the waiver wire. Mikal Bridges, like someone would snap him up straight away. You drop sort of, I'm sure most teams in here would have a player that they would drop to pick up Mikal Bridges. So what are the rules?
I have an idea. Wait a minute. I've got an idea. Here we go. So look, what you do as the manager then, you have your two spots. So this is how my team shook out at the end of the day. What can we do here, Kingy? You got your two guard spots, fair. Two forward spots, fair. One center and three flex spots. Absolutely fair. Then your reserves are 1, 2, 3, 4. What you have to do is unless injury, you have to hold on. You could add one more flex spot, one more reserve spot. So you have 10 active roster spots somehow. So add these two to active. So maybe make it another guard. So point guard, shooting guard, and a guard spot, small forward, power forward, forward spot. Add one more flex, and you can no drop more in the first month than two of the players are from draft day.
Yeah.
Could that work?
Yeah, something like that could definitely work. I thought about saying, well, you can't add someone if you've already got someone from that team. So if you've already got a New York Knicks player, you can't get Bridges. But that's
a fair point.
That's something you could do.
Your first ad has to be from someone that you didn't draft in the last round.
Yeah, something like that, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, look, I think it's definitely worth thinking about. And I mean, I'll chat I think I've still got the group chat going. So I might even just drop something in there and just say, hey, guys, if we want to play this out, and I'll open the floor, open it up to the analysts and see if they've got any suggestions about how we could make this work. Because as I said, the reason I wouldn't just open it up is because it almost defeats the purpose of the draft. I think if you were just to open up waivers and say, okay, go for it, it makes the draft sort of not as important. And I like, part of this is that I like drafting to be important because
100%.
I feel like you get to the back end of the season and so much of it comes down to luck. So yeah, trying to keep it fun, obviously, but also a lot of people put time and effort into their drafts, and then your season's ruined for whatever reason, injuries and that sort of thing. So yeah, look, maybe we'll open it up and see if people are keen to play it out and what that might look like.
But it's also then keen to say that this is what fantasy basketball is about again. It's about having a chat in the group. It's about getting your mates on board, seeing it through, and having that healthy debate. What do we call it? Robust discussions in your chat rooms with your fantasy friends. Like, no, that's a bullshit rule, and people calling it out and then changing it. And then you actually not only create something special and dynamic in your own league, but you get to build it and sustain it, which I think is kind of often forgot with just playing it. And I think that's where this opens up a brand new way to play, where everyone can contribute, everyone has fun in the community, and then you get some wicked action like that taken on as well.
Yeah. And look, it's I'm sure I'll come up with some other weird ideas for mock drafts, and
I'll hate you for it.
We're doing a slow auction at the moment, which I think is that's more of an exercise that I would like to see gain some traction, because I think auctions are so much better, but a lot of people don't have the 2 hours or whatever it is to do a live auction. So I think if we can find a way to get slow auction drafts going, and there is an app. One of the guys who's in it suggested a website or an app that I think it's called Couch Managers or something. So I've had a bit of a look at it, and they actually are designed for slow auction drafts. So you have to pay. So only I think it's $5 a month. But it's only the commissioner has to do it. So it's not like everyone has to pay to use it. It's just if you want to set up a draft. So I'm going to look at that because I think slow auctions are a good way to go if we can make it work. And we've already seen in the one we're doing, we're tweaking it a little bit as we go.
So I had that was the fun thing today. And then another way of doing it, this is another Google chart. You have the auction up, and I was in there watching it because I've got shout out to our homie Karan. We've got both blues, and I'm even doing my own head and be like, did I bid on that guy? There's actually a guy I didn't bid on that I was on there. I think he did and tried to take it off, but his blue was different. And then I'm trying to fill in the blue. Like, whose blue is that? Is that my blue? And so I'm trying to fill in my blues. And then 2 minutes after the deadline, I'm just noticing someone's going like, hey. That's after the deadline. Yeah. And then we had to have a bid off. And that was a lot of fun in the group as well. It's like, let's have a bid off. So Mike and I from Watch the Boxes, shout out to him. That was a lot of fun. We were like, no. And we're just upping each other like spy versus spy for $1. It's a great way. And this is, again, it's just about connecting with your group and having fun instead of just being there on the side. It's like,
I think, I mean, the reason I sort of went down that path of allowing a bid off rather than saying, hey, no, this is the time and bids need to be in by this time, is because it is more reflective of a real auction draft, because
100%.
That is what happens. People bid until someone doesn't want to bid anymore. So, and it added 10 minutes to the clock, I suppose, if we're calling it a 24-hour clock. So it didn't matter.
Should we do a live auction draft?
We normally do.
Like a show? We haven't done it as a show before where we've done. I remember that Saturday night we did. Oh, we should do it.
I've done a couple of live auction mock shows, but they do go for a long time. So it is.
I get nervy.
It's
trigger fingers.
I think I'm fairly certain I've just done them by myself, because I don't want to get like it. Just you need to be concentrating for 2 hours.
So much concentration.
And Josh, I mean, Josh is exactly the same. I know that because he has tried to host a show whilst drafting, and
he hates it.
Yeah, and almost every show, every draft that he does like that, he misses someone. Like someone, he's distracted by something, and he misses a player who goes for about $10 cheaper than they should have.
Don't tell Josh, but I'm deliberately the guy in that draft that was actually waiting for him to be distracted while he was doing it and messing with his head. That was me, and I'm okay with it. And
that's what you have to do, and you have to take advantage of.
I got Evan Mobley for like $8. It was fantastic.
Yeah,
it was like, isn't it 18? I'm like, he's like, oh no. Anyway.
Yeah. So yes, look, I'll be doing auction mocks and all sorts of things, but they are tricky and they do take a lot of time. So, but maybe this slow mock thing takes off. I don't know. We'll see.
I think this is a lot of fun to play, and especially if you have time as a commissioner, you're in a 10-man league, you wanted to change it up, put it to your chat, have some fun with it. Kingy, thank you very much, guys. Take care. Make sure you like and subscribe to all things Old Man Squad. You can find me at MBAGWiz on X and Instagram. Make sure you like and subscribe to all that gear. Again, it's the Old Man Crew. We've got a lot of content getting your fantasy game right for the season. Coming your way real soon. Take care, everybody.